Hello everyone, my name is Jenny and now I can tell you a story that I have made it myself in the biggest paper in my house. And now I can tell you, it was called Cinderella and I loved it. I was decided to tell my dad about it, but I forgot yesterday. And then I'll show you. Story for kids from Jenny, from Vietnam, to all the kids, funny stories. This one is almost wrong and very sorry.
Okay. Let's get started now.
Yes. Perfect. Once upon a time, Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a lovely girl named Cinderella. She lived with her evil stepmother and her two evil stepsisters. They made her as their servant in her own house. One day, the king and his son, the prince, made a fancy ball at the castle. The king thought that his son would love one of the princesses at the ball. The prince was curious about all the young maidens. Cinderella wanted to go too, but her stepmother and stepsister didn't let her go. Her stepmother first says, "You didn't have a beautiful dress or nice shoes." And her stepsister says, "You didn't have a broomstick and you didn't work all the house chores before you go." And then Cinderella was so sad that her stepmother and stepsisters left her at the house. Then Cinderella cried as her stepmother locked the door to her room. Then, suddenly, a fairy godmother appears. The fairy godmother was surprised when hearing cries from the house. She thought, "Someone might be needing my help," she thought. Then she opened the door. Cinderella, seeing the door open, then went outside. She saw the fairy godmother. The fairy godmother asked, "Cinderella, why are you crying, my dear child?" And then Cinderella told the fairy all about her life. The fairy godmother listened and says, "Very good. You have a kind heart, so you will go to the ball," said the fairy godmother. "Really? I can go?" asked Cinderella. And then the fairy godmother says, "Of course. And you do me one favor. Bring me a pumpkin and 3 mice. The pumpkin with 1 leaf, please." Okay, thought Cinderella. She thought, what is a pumpkin and 3 mice she need? 2 mice for the ball. I better take and sit on the pumpkin, and then the mice will drive me onto the castle, she thought. But then the fairy godmother said, "Hurry, get out, or you'll be hurt somewhere. For my magic," said the fairy godmother. And with a wave of her magic wand, pop, bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. Salakadoo, the mitchikaboo, the baby buddy boo. I met your mother, made him got bibbidi bobbidi boo. Salakadoo, the mitchikaboo, the baby buddy boo. And her mother when they got bibbidi bobbidi boo. But sakaloo the me and minchikaboo the roo. And with the chop, the best to chop, the bibbidi bobbidi boo. And then the fairy godmother turned the small but big pumpkin into a big and long carrot. And then she turned 1 mice into a dragon. And then she turned the last mice into a unicorn horse.
Oh my gosh!
And then the carriage made of gold. The driver is ready with his whiskers, and then the fairy godmother says, "What shall I forget? Oh dear, I forgot about you, Cinderella." And then, with a wave of her magic wand, What's the spell I just made? Billy, Bobby, Billy, Bobby, And then the fish godmother turns her old, ugly rags into a beautiful blue ball gown. She has sparkling glass shoes too. And then she has long braided golden hair, and then she has a cloak made by silver, a glove, and a crown on the head. She has a little curly hair in the middle of her head. And then the fairy godmother says, "Now, Cinderella, I have helped you. Now please come inside the carriage. Now I will tell you one more thing before you left. Remember, Cinderella," said the fairy godmother, "when the clock strikes 12 midnight, your magical coach, your whisker driver, and your unicorn horse will turn back into mice and pumpkins. Remember this, or you'll be embarrassed as the palace forever," said the fairy godmother. "Yes, I will remember," said Cinderella happily, and then she skipped into the magic coach and quickly drove away. She finally came to the castle. The castle garden was beautiful. There was green trees, bushes, and flowers, and there was a full moon dusk. There was a lake with a swan and a fish.
Fish, right?
Yes, a fish.
Yeah.
And then she danced all night with the prince. The prince was in love with her, and then he gave her flowers. And when the prince was about to ask her to marry him, suddenly Cinderella hears something strange. Bong, bong, bong. Cinderella sees the clock at the castle struck 12, and then she ran out chasing. And then the prince saw her running at full speed. She's after her. And then the clock said bong, bong, bong. And then all the time, Cinderella lost her glass slippers. See?
Yeah.
See? She didn't have the slippers, see?
Yeah.
And then Cinderella ran back home. But suddenly, when she's in the middle of the road, she turned back into her old original self. Then she was sad. Then she slowly walked back home with her mice friends, dragging the big pumpkin. When she returned home, she was sad, sitting by the fire, crying. She thought, "I will never have my happily ever after. Although I go to the bar, although..." And suddenly, she found her stepmother. She was very surprised, and then she started to run to the kitchen, take out the mop, and started to mopping the floors. And then, when the stepmother went in, she saw the whole house was clean. She saw Cinderella was working with a mop. Lau nhẹ.
Yes.
Yes, I know. And then the fairy godmother says, "If Cinderella was a kind heart, you will find her happily ever after," said the fairy godmother. Invisible. Không có nhìn được. Cannot look.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Cinderella says, "How was the ball?" Yes, sadly. The princess says, her stepmother, "Whose princess?" asked Cinderella. "There was a stupid, silly princess at the ball tonight." Well, we tried to ask the prince, what is he doing with the girl? And then the prince didn't notice. And we are annoyed of that princess, and we are angry at her. He was fall in love with her, and then he wanted to find her to marry him. But he can find only one thing of hers, says the stepmother. "What is that?" asked Cinderella. "A glass shoe. It was really pretty. The prince says if some of the girls fit on the shoe, she might marry him. And then, that was including Cinderella. Cinderella was very happy at that moment. Then she ran upstairs, dropping the mop, and then she fell onto her sleep. And then, the next morning, the Grand Duke carried the glass shoes all over the world. The grand ships was almost trapping up leaks, and then the Grand Duke first tucked the slipper into the first sister, but it didn't fit. Then he get out. Then he take the last shoe out of her foot. Then, next, Cinderella was sweeping the floor with the broom. Broom. And then she found the glass slippers. She was very curious if her foot might take and fit in the glass slippers. And then she sit on the chair, and then the Grand Duke slid the glass shoe into her foot. Then it fit perfectly. The Grand Duke was surprised. Then he said, "Our quest is complete. We find the girl that fit the shoe." And then the Grand Duke was happy and took Cinderella into the magical coach and then go to the palace. The prince was happy, and then they got married and lived happily ever after. Wait, it's not the end. What about the
Stepmother?
yes, the stepmother and the stepsisters?
Okay.
Cinderella was still kind and polite. Then she invited her stepmother and stepsister to the castle to live with her. And next, wait, it's not the end. What about the fairy godmother? And then the fairy godmother was here at the castle too. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.
And it's the end.
Not the end. What about
Ghost?
Jack and Gus?
Yes.
Jack and Gus was the friends of Cinderella. They helped her a lot. So they was invited to the castle too. And then they all lived happily ever after. Wait, it's not the end.
How about pumpkin? Pumpkin.
It's not the pumpkin.
Pumpkin and the mice.
No. What about the cat, the pet of Lady Tremaine, the stepmother of Cinderella, named Lucifer? What about the cat Lucifer? Well, he was punished and thrown into a farm. And then they all lived happily ever after. The end. Very good, guys. Thank you for watching my video. And also have my stories to get a dating it. And the important thing is make arrangements. My helpers? Yes. Do you have a question to ask? No, but do you like the story?
Yes, of course.
Good. Now, Cinderella is a kind-hearted soul. Why you like her so much?
I don't know.
First question, why do you love her so much? You listen to the story. You have to answer our question. Helpers, be quiet in your minds. Well, guys, I am asking you, why do you love Cinderella?
Because she's so kind and she's so beautiful.
Good. And the last question. Why does the prince love Cinderella?
Because Cinderella is so beautiful and she has the nice glass slipper.
Good. And the lastest question is, why did the stepmother treated Cinderella like a servant?
I know.
Because she was jealous of Cinderella's beauty and charm, heart. Dan, you truly love my stories, right? Well, the fairy godmother is always had a lot of times practicing